Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, Facebook and YouTube. It's good to be back again. I'm Brian Christian, and this is Heavy Revy TV. And so, welcome back to another exciting broadcast. Um, my wife could not join us today. She really wanted to. Unfortunately, she went to give plasma today just to make a little bit of extra money. And well, they messed up her arms for the second or third time. She came back bandaged on both arms in pain, stressed out, a little bit discouraged. So just throw some love frequencies her way and make space in your heart for her as she kind of sits back and recovers. And so today it's just me. I know it's not as exciting as my wonderful wife because she really does bring a lot to the table, but she will be back Saturday as we are going to be um, having guests on our broadcast this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about reincarnation. And I think we're going to be giving a side to it that's different than what a lot of religions say about reincarnation, whether they believe in it or not. And so we're going to be bringing an eternal view, a quantum view, as well as what is witnessed in the earth when it comes to what people call reincarnation. And so there's definitely an incarnation of the one that continually cycles through itself, or the divinity of God cycling through itself. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that this Saturday. And I think I posted it, if I am correct. I'm kind of looking right now. I did do a post, The Truth About Reincarnation, with Serenity and Nico Morales and my wife and I. That's this Saturday. So don't miss that. Today, I want to kind of go into part 3. So part 4 is going to be Saturday with reincarnation, because that too is consciousness. Now, of course, when we're dealing with consciousness, we have to understand there are multiple ways to explain consciousness. Okay. I'm conscious right now that I'm sitting at a computer live on Facebook, but that's not the consciousness we're really talking about. That's just basic human consciousness of a third dimensional grid. And so going to a higher consciousness is what we're going to talk about today, and not just a higher consciousness to some place of space, time, and matter, but the consciousness as eternity. And I think as we begin to transition beyond trying to identify with something we need to put on and go from that to who we actually are as the very thing we're pursuing, it changes the whole posture in which we manifest. It's good to see you, Hannah. Glad you're on. And all those that have just joined, don't forget to say hi so I can see your faces. I see there's about 6 on so far. I don't know who you are, so come on and say hi, everyone. So I'm going to just read you what I put in the description for the video. While consciousness can mean many different things, higher consciousness allows one to bypass the illusion of time and instead use it as a tool for expression and exchange. When one sees life through the eternal, there can be no regrets, no delays, and no need to obtain anything from outside yourself. Okay? It allows us to enter a place of being so that our doing is coming from the inside and is actually coming from that which is already complete. Okay? Um, Perfect and complete, lacking nothing. And so, when we talk about consciousness, and at some point, I think Saturday, Nico might touch on this. And by the way, if you haven't checked out his page, you just go to Nico Morales's page, Facebook page, and just reach out to him. But he's got his own website, and you can purchase courses that he has. He has one on consciousness, and he goes into a lot of the different sides of consciousness and levels of consciousness. And I mean, I could say that off the top of my head, there is the eternal consciousness, there is the quantum consciousness. And by the way, those two, even though they are connected, are not exactly the same. While the quantum carries the eternal of that which is unseen but visibly manifested in this dimension of experience, or in this awareness that we are viewing, if I could put it that way, it is more of a bridge to slowing down to visibility, through even the connection of neuroscience and subatomic particles. But those subatomic particles cannot be seen in the natural with the eyes, and when they are observed, they change. And so observing an atom changes the moment you observe it. Okay. And so in that, we have to understand that that's a bridge of us slowing down to an awareness of a purpose, or to an awareness of an expression which becomes visible in our biology, in which we express. This is where we experience the timeline, okay? We'll get into a little bit of the timeline in just a minute. This is going to be deep. This is why this is called Heavy Revy TV. So if you need to, later on after it's recorded, rewind, watch again, then please do so. Because sometimes I just talk really fast because it's coming really fast. And hopefully we'll also have some flow today with some people, and give some people some words and some directives as Spirit inspires. All right. Okay. So in the eternal is the absoluteness of the consciousness of God that is, and this is where we find, if you read it in the scriptures, that he commanded the end from the beginning. Okay. The end from the beginning would be what we're experiencing in the biological, in the visible. It has a beginning and it has an end. Okay. In the sense of this particular reality that we're experiencing right now, unless of course you have transitioned already from 3D to 5D. And most of us here are still in that process of mastering the dimension of the 5D. You have to master each density in order to cross over to the next one. And mastering the 3D is basically being able to embrace everything that's coming your way without the need to control it, manipulate it, change it, run away from it, and using that to break open who you've always been in a higher density or dimension. All right. Good to see you, Molly, Nancy, John and Annabelle, Saloma. Good to see you. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. And so when we're dealing with time, okay. Actually, let me go back for a second. Let me give you some more levels of consciousness. So you have the eternal, you have the quantum, you have the biological, which includes the emotional, the mental. You have the relational, and the relational, surprisingly enough, is manifested greater in the visible timeline reflected realm, because consciousness as one is not aware of itself, and consciousness as one has no expression within itself. And so it wasn't like eternally God planned something to do someday. And I know a lot of us, that was where we had to begin, because we couldn't really get past our timeline. So we had to realize we were sent from eternity into time. Spirit slowed down to visibility. And even though there's a level of a truth to that for our humanity to grasp it in a finite realm, if I could put it that way, a finite realm. Ultimately, everything that is happening now has also always been, and it's been at multiple levels, if I can put it that way. And when I say levels, I don't mean levels as in scorecard or somehow obtaining. It's more of levels of unveiling. Okay. And so we are unveiling, going from faith to faith and glory to glory. But who we truly are has always been, as these veils are coming off and we're realizing deeper truths. We're realizing more profound mysteries. We're able to come into alignment in our actions with what has been revealed. How many, let me give you just a basic example of this. You remember back in the day when you first began to awaken to spiritual reality, and maybe you first started in religion, and maybe there was mixture. I think all of us didn't really wake up into instant truth. We just kind of woke up at levels, right? But remember those early days when we woke up, we heard a truth that we claimed, and we said, this is the truth, this is all of it, and we ran with it. And then after a while, it started to break down. It was almost like, well, that truth had truth, but it's no longer doing what it used to do for me. And so it's not that it wasn't a truth, it's that it was a truth where you were at on the way to where you were going. And then you graduated from that truth and you got a deeper truth of the previous truth with some added on things, right? And so you worked that, and eventually, guess what happened? That truth broke down. So all our truths are really interaction expressions that are allowing us to wake up from the dream of the human experience, or at least how it's been depicted. Um, and so we have all these different levels of consciousness. You have an emotional level, you have a relational level, and so the fullness of the Godhead bodily, as it says in Colossians, is really a fuller unveiling of God becoming aware of himself, and in that his or herself, I don't even like him or her, because divinity is not male nor female, even though there is the masculine and feminine. It is more or less the giving and the receiving, all right? And there are definitely symbologies there, but we have to take this in, much of it symbolically and allegorically, in our finite experience, because our mind, well, for one thing, here was never wired for you to take in the infinite, because the infinite, the conscious, went subconscious for a reason. And the subconscious is God looking inward and bringing forth the memories of his own divinity and discovery of himself that is now played out in the reflective timeline version or slowed down version of God within the diversity of God. Okay? So if you can imagine going within your own mind and meditating on who you are as a daughter or a son, who you are as a husband or a wife, who you are as a brother or a sister, who you are as an employer or an employee, who you are as a leader or a follower. All of these different aspects is you looking in on different aspects of you, okay? And you at certain levels, you within your ego. Part of your ego, by the way, I know we say ego isn't you, and in essence, it isn't the true heart of you, as in the ultimate essence of you, but it is you in the seat of your personality in a renewed state where your mind has let go of the three-dimensional posture of using the ego to live in a loop of memories, okay, and staying within the familiar. But once that ego is brought subject to the essence of who you are as a light being, it now begins to manifest the diversity of that which was beheld when God faced himself. And that is now unveiling in this multicolored garment of Joseph, as we read in Genesis, the many multi-dimensional realm of the expression of divinity in and to itself. I'm feeling this realm beginning to break open even as I'm talking, and I can tell that, oh yeah, some of you are getting that as well. And it's okay to be strange. It's okay to be crazy. It's okay to be out there, right? It's totally okay. Shaka bam bam. I like what Danielle just put. Let me just put this up here. It says, truth connects. When it changes, morphs love remains. I see truth as a connector to love. Very good, Danielle. That's really the heart of it. Because when it says in the scriptures, and I'll refer to the scriptures and I'll refer to other writings as well, because they're all saying the same thing, is that when it says that we speak the truth in love, it's not just talking about putting a smile on and being gentle and walking on the eggshells of other people's mindset and saying, oh, God bless you. And let me give you this truth, and I'll just try to be as subliminal as possible to not offend you. That's not speaking the truth in love, even though that might be a level of our communication at on one side of the matter. Speaking the truth in love is realizing that every truth that's being exchanged has nothing to do with facts or settling or building towers of Babel or boxes of religion so that we can rest on it and say, we know the truth. The truth is the interaction with one another in the midst of the truth you are carrying. And it is that interaction that is the bond of love. So speaking the truth in love has to do with the fact that you're recognizing that your truth is a bridge to a deeper realm of the living epistles of Christ in and as one another. And so that's really what it becomes, okay? Whew, man, I'm feeling good right about now. So when we think about the eternal consciousness or consciousness as eternity, I want you to let go of everything you've ever known about God, about Jesus, about Christ, about all of it, all the doctrines we've learned, everybody else's perspective we've learned. Strip off the cultural influence and definition of divinity. Strip it off. Now, I'm not saying that we have to forsake this, like forsake our religions. All our religions is what our humanity needs to grab hold of to feel secure and not alone. That's what religion does, okay? Now, it's okay to do that in the beginning because we're ignorant of it. We don't know any better. We think, well, that's God and that's God. And even though everyone out there, all the different religions and beliefs have a truth, they don't have all the truth. And again, when we're dealing with truth, we've got to understand that truth is not something that is solidified as textbook fact true, even though there is that level in the domestic realm. When it comes to higher consciousness, truth is an interaction relationally. And in that, we are sharing our experiences of truth. Okay. And so, and what Danielle put something else up here I got to share. And you're on a roll tonight, Danielle. Says, yes, then the challenge is, can we continue to love one another when our or their perspective of truth changes? Oh boy, is that deep. And really, doesn't that become the tester? It becomes the tester of whether or not somebody truly understands the love reciprocation process and interaction. And so wherever people cannot receive you, like I had somebody on the post I shared about announcing Saturday's broadcast on reincarnation. I had a lady on there, and I know I've got a lot of people on my Facebook that freak out about hearing the term reincarnation. I used to be there in that. I don't necessarily believe in the reincarnation that has been taught per se in a time, space, and matter environment, as though we die, go somewhere, come back, and I mean we might experience it at one level, but it's a lot higher to me than that. But I had a lady just, what? Why talk about reincarnation? It's a myth. It's all about Jesus and how he died on the cross, and thank God it's finished, and we don't have to even look at that. That is a narrow-minded, arrogant, and blind response. It really, really is. It's just, I mean, it's stupidity at its greatest. Because what we're doing there is we're saying, I have all the truth and I am superior to anything you have to say. And as long as people are like that, they don't have a truth. Not a truth that's going to bring any kind of love manifestation. And so, we want to honor everybody's truth where they're at, but we've got to also realize that just because somebody claims they have a truth doesn't mean it's truth at all. Truth is proven in the fruit it produces, and that truth being an interaction proves itself in how we love and treat one another when we are upgrading and changing our mind. Because many a times our relationships are based in how somebody else complements my own ego of conclusion in what I've defined as truth. And when they upgrade and they come into another truth and we can't be their friend, it basically means we were only in that relationship to get something, and it was a one-sided relationship, and it was very self-centered. And we can call this emotional or relational masturbation, because that's really what it is. Okay? So, not to get too graphic in that, but it's true. It's true. So, I forgot what I was talking about before this. So let me just flow on eternity here for a minute. So eternal consciousness, like I said before, strip yourself of all cultural understanding and conclusion of who God is. Just let go of all of that. Enter the invisible God. The invisible God. He's not visible. So guess what? You ain't going to see anything. You're not going to see a visible old white guy with a beard sitting on a cloud or on a throne, because that's based on culture. Okay? That's not based on who God actually is, where he is. It's based on culture. Okay? God is not separate from you. You are the very essence of divinity. And I'm not talking about your physical imagery or even your mind, even though the mind is an extension of spiritual reality at this level of consciousness. There is a higher consciousness that supersedes emotion and causes us to enter into a realization of motion. So we are in motion, and in that motion of the eternal light of divinity, we are gazing in and in this awareness of ourself, and now we are seeing every refraction of ourself in this engagement of interaction, all happening within the invisible realm that's slowed down to have a moment. You ever have a moment with somebody you're in love with and you're looking in their eyes and wow. Well, that's the timeline. Your timeline is having a moment with the eternal gaze of God looking into himself and therefore manifesting the subconscious as the finite human experience being lived out in the memories of God or the memories of divinity. I don't even like using that generic term God anymore. There's a lot of things that have changed in me over the past month, and they will continue to change, and we will continue to upgrade. And I have a feeling I'll be losing some people and gaining some people. And I am okay with that, because I am no longer here to convince people by breaking things down necessarily into religious language anymore. I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to let the chips fall where they may, and y'all got to just glean from it, right? So, eternal consciousness without the visible experience. Now, I want you to understand this. This has been my encounter. This has been my experience. The consciousness looks like darkness or the absence of consciousness, or appears to be unconscious, if it doesn't have the subconscious interaction of the essence of divinity in invisibility slowing down to express itself visibly. That has always been and did not have a beginning. It simply had an awareness. Um, you just kind of find yourself born into this earth, but you weren't actually born into this earth, even though you were. I know that sounds confusing. At the level of consciousness of humanity and the finite version of consciousness, which is mind, will, and emotions, which is me experiencing everything within me as though outside of me, and living in the dualistic, individualized world, um, that place I am not going to be able to discern. And that is the subconscious state of God. Okay. And so, if you can imagine this, God being all knowing, all powerful, everywhere at once, and that always being God, but divinity not necessarily being conscious of that all at once. Now, I know this sounds out there because I've always been one that said God knows all things. And I do believe there are slices, if I could say, slices of divinity set aside, holding the memories of God and all things known. But there are other slices of divinity that has hid itself from itself by looking into itself to pursue itself, and in the interaction of itself can now express itself at another level. And so the eternal is that place in which, not even a place, but an awareness, a reality in which there could be no journey, for it's forever and everywhere and knows all things and cannot interact relationally unless there is densities or dimensions, which we talked about in the previous videos, where there is an exchange of divinity within itself that even unlocks the ongoingness of all knowingness. But what if, like where it says in the scriptures, it talks about the mystery hidden from the foundation of the world, Christ in you, the hope of glory, was also divinity's experience in 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 uh, in the invisible state, in which divinity became aware of the mystery of humanity, or of itself in the form of multiple level beings, in which humanity is only one manifestation or species, one race. And what if the human race is only one part of the body of Christ, and there are multiple levels of beings or densities in which we are gazing in as angels, which are really light beings that aren't necessarily what some of the mythology out there has taught. I mean, if you go back to some of the ancient Hebrew cultures and beliefs, and not necessarily saying they were correct, but some of their beliefs is, you get down to the nitty gritty, they really didn't believe in angels like we think today. That was a lot of other paganism and mythology influencing them that was adopted later on. This is why many of these angels in scripture look like an angel one minute, especially in the Old Testament, but then are speaking as God the next minute, is because it's an interchanging of the oneness manifested in diversity at multiple levels of density in a multiverse, as well as in a biological, um, multiple universal perspective that is happening in other galaxies and planets, and that are happening on multiple levels of this. And, and I know that this might be hard to comprehend because, when we think of outer space, we think of Oh, well, that's space. Okay, it's made up of space. And because there's no oxygen, there's also no sound. But really, outer space is a projection of inner space, which has no space, even though biologically we could say we're 99% space. Really, it is a projected image of space and time that is simply being worked as a tool of engagement, expression, and having the opportunity to forget knowing all things at one level to only know them in a moment through a timeline that's a tool for a journey of a relationship so that divinity can relate to itself in expressions and visibility that is constantly cycling through itself, and that has always been the mystery hidden within divinity that is being revealed through levels of consciousness. Now, are you getting whacked yet on that? Are you getting drunk on that one? I know I'm getting pretty whacked. Now, what happens is we get stuck in time or in a timeline, linear time mentality. Hey, good to see you, Teresa and Ron. Love you guys. We get stuck in time as our reality, and that's really what causes us to have the fear. We think many people think they have the fear of death, and we all grieve when somebody transitions. Um, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't grieve. At one level, we do, because we're experiencing emotion, and emotion is not a interruption to spirit motion. Emotion is the experience of light in motion. Okay. And it's there at multiple levels. And the experience is beautiful at all levels here of consciousness. So don't think that if you're moving in an emotional realm of a third dimension, that it's just a waste of your time. Everything that you are living out at that level of duality, which is consciousness looking subconsciously, um, is actually enabling you through the hardship realm of resistance to break out through the veils and enter a 5D state of consciousness of oneness, which we talked about also in the first video. Okay. And so what has happened is we have got stuck in this reality or in this timeline as our ultimate reality, in which we've adopted that reality that defines our identity. And so the moment this realm of the five senses only and of duality and ego have defined who we are based on this experience here, we become entangled, and that entanglement is where we begin to lose our identity, where we don't know who we are, where we struggle, where we think we're not as spiritual as other people, where we have the fear of dying. Okay. And really, I begin to realize that the fear of death, since death does not exist, since there really wasn't a fall like we think there was a fall, as though divinity made a mistake by staying conscious by looking within into a subconscious. It really wasn't a mistake. Um, in that we ended up getting stuck in time because of loss of memory. Okay. We lost the remembrance that was outside of memory, that was in a knowing of the divine state of consciousness and all the intricate design and purpose for why we journeyed through. So we're really not afraid of death, because death really doesn't exist. We're experiencing death from a third dimensional perspective. And therefore, we see somebody die, they're a shell, they go into the ground, they rot, their spirit goes somewhere else. Now, this is all based on 3D time, space, okay? And so we're experiencing it at that level. But it doesn't look that way when you're outside of a third density or third dimensional grid, And so it's completely different. It's a metamorphosis, almost like a cocoon and a breaking forth of another species, another realm. Now, it might be in the sense of species, it might be in the sense of invisibility. But either way, who you are as invisible is actually creating the landscape of you in invisibility, bleeding through visibly in the conscious awareness of the timeline version of your expressive subconscious visible manifestation. And this is something I've encountered. And I'll say this, that we're not afraid of death. We are afraid of the unknown or the unfamiliar because we've latched on to the visible density as our ultimate reality, and we've lost sight of the true essence of the eternal. And when we lose sight of the true essence of the eternal, we strive in regret, delay, the need to obtain, so therefore lack, the need to perform anything we think we've obtained, to not lose it. And so we struggle and we strive. But what this struggling and striving does is it brings us to the place where we know it doesn't work anymore. And we have to upgrade to a higher reality where our higher self is actually already living out all the prophecies we heard that we think we're trying to get to, which was really the whisper of our higher self yelling back at our third dimensional conscious state, saying, relax, you're already there, enjoy the trip. Because we chose to enjoy the trip. As I was entering this place outside of time and space, the eternal consciousness of divinity, there was no intricate purpose like I thought. It was consciousness looking into subconsciousness to be aware of what it's conscious of, and the gathering of data in everything consciousness has been conscious of. It was this amazing reality of I'm neither good, I'm neither evil. I am simply consciousness sustaining its consciousness through a subconscious visible expression that is looped like a wheel within a wheel to come full circle and continually expand. And the very heart of this consciousness is the emanating of unconditional love. The emanating of unconditional love is constantly being snowballed and expanded and expressed and embraced through every sound in all the densities of visible manifestation that is sounding like an orchestra. So all the sad, terrible things that happen on earth doesn't sound sad in the divine orchestra of frequency, but is actually gripping the heart in gratitude and thanksgiving because it is our fight song. Remember that song? This is my fight song, right? Okay, that's your sound. That's the sound of every generation and all humanity through their times of glory and happiness and suffering and pain. It is all the instruments of the orchestra bringing forth the fight song of consciousness. Okay? Shoo, man, there's such a realm right now. Jessica, you didn't miss this. Make sure you hit notifications on the video too, because that way you'll get a notification. Bless you, Daniel, Adnan. Let's see who else is on here. Well, everybody else. I have to scroll up to see y'all here. So, so Jessica, shaka bam bam. Jessica. You are in the, how can I put this? Let me put this in human terms. You are at the bar of God, like you're at the bar, like sitting at a bar. You are at the place of drinks. You are in the time of mixed drinks at the bar of God, the bar of divinity. You are in the season of extended bliss. I just had some strange visions of you, and I'm just going to say it. You're going to begin to be a sign and a wonder visibly to people in this season as you live out a drunken stupor in the joy of divinity. Okay? And this drunken stupor is going to cause you to do some really strange things. I literally saw you frozen in place. I saw you like walking around, and all of a sudden you were stuck. And as you were stuck, what I call the mannequin anointing, where you can't move, in that stuckness, it began to affect others around you. So I see you like embodying manifestations at different times. One was you were stuck, and others were all of a sudden getting unstuck as they beheld you being stuck. And it was almost like you were embodying this, kind of like how the prophets of old would, Isaiah would walk around naked. Thank God that ain't the prophecy for you. Or Jeremiah had the yoke on his neck, or Ezekiel's laying on his side, or Hosea's marrying a prostitute. I see you becoming someone who embodies in this season different manifestations, strange things. It reminds me of Amy Semple McPherson when she went out. If you've ever heard of her, she was one that inspired Catherine Coleman and then Benny Hinn after that and all of that. And I think before Amy was Mariah Woodworth Etter, and these are Christian revivalists back in the day. And anyway, she wanted to have this big gathering, and there weren't a lot of people there. So she took a chair outside on the corner, and she stood on it like a statue until a whole crowd gathered around staring at her. And then she jumped off the chair, grabbed the chair, ran in the building, and everybody ran after her. And they ran in. She shut and locked the door and began to flow. Okay. And minister. Okay. So yes, that's it, Jessica. Channeling a lot. I have been seeing that, and I've also been seeing this whole chameleon anointing on you, this chameleon realm in which everybody you get around lately, and this is all on purpose, for a purpose, that you blend with, that you flow with, that you are inspired in, you tend to take on their realm, their expression, their demeanor, and you're exercising the diversity of oneness by mirroring what you've received from one another and even being them in that moment and time, almost like you even take on the way they flow, their manifestations that they operate in, even in the body, and even the way they express. And so I just see that all over you. And so you're not a copycat. You're not copying anybody as this is happening. You're not trying to be something else. You are the four-faced living creature. You have been gathering the faces. And as you are gathering the faces, whoo, you're going to begin to enter a whole new realm, even as Ezekiel 1 says that the four faces began to extend their wings, and then they began to enter into the wheels. And when they were in the wheels, they became full of eyes, and they were covered with eyes. And so all eyes are on you right now as you are becoming a manifestor of vision, a manifestor of eyes. Whoo! A manifestor. Whoa! Shaka, shaka, bam, bam. Oh, that's beautiful. So I just released that realm. I released the frequency. Wow. I released the frequency with frequent flyers to get you where you need to go in your season of travel. The season of travel. Get ready to get yourself an RV or a van, either a big van or an RV. You're going on the road, Jessica. You're going on the road. This is the divine experiment. So get ready for that. It's coming. Shoo. And I think it's already been there at level. So I don't know what's going on in your life right now. I haven't been following what's happening, but hopefully I'm something's sparking there for you. Oh, so you came on just in time. All right. So where were we? Let's see if we can get back to this. I don't know if I can get back to it now. Oh, fire, fire, fire. We just release. Wow. We just released the sound. I'm carrying a sound right now, so I don't even have to say anything. I'm just telling you what's coming out of me right now, which is really within me, and all you are in me, but you're experiencing being in each other and in oneness as though you're looking across from each other as an expression of love and truth. So just begin to receive that vibration, that frequency. It's an upgrade. It's time to wake up to another realm, to another face, to another grace. It's time to wake up. Wow. Okay. Now, so I was talking about how we get entangled. Okay. We get entangled in the timeline, human experience, in our duality. But the duality eventually begins to give way to divine exchange. And so we start out in this dualistic place, trying to obtain goodness and resist badness. And then we judge everybody that we think is in badness and not living in our goodness. And so then we get knocked off our arrogant horse. We go through the resistance. This is what creates the resistance. So the resistance is only here based in your mind. And the resistance isn't here to really resist you. It's to resist what you've adopted. But what you adopted is a seed that has to die to go out into the ground so that it can bear much fruit. So the duality in the beginning is in seed form, in which we're aimlessly wandering and resisting and fighting and tug of wars and turmoils and judgments and all of these things, which do not affect eternity. They do not affect anything of the essence of who you are at any level. There isn't anything going on the face of the earth that is affecting you. Now, it might be affecting your thoughts, your conclusions, your ego, your physical manifestation or biology that's directly responding to your thoughts and mind and so on and so forth. But who you are is definitely not affected, not discouraged, not challenged, but is consciousness sitting by with a smile saying yes and amen. Let's have an experience. Okay. That's actually your reality. That's what's really going on. I've been walking this thing for a while, and I've gone through just about every possible religious trend you can think of, and they were all profitable because here we are. Everything was profitable. It just didn't feel like it at the time, right? Just didn't feel like it. Whew. So I just released that. That frequency of eternity that enables you to have no need to obtain, that has no more regret, no more lack or loss, but postures you in a reality that says, all right, everything I already am looking for, I already am. But now I'm on a journey of expressing it in a whole new way so that I can embrace my higher self as love and begin to enter into this place of expansion, expansion into the next density. Hallelujah. And the eternal now is the place in between thoughts. See, you have thoughts, which is the ego realm of the 3D, and then you have the space between thoughts, which is really no space at all. In fact, it takes space to have a thought, or shall I say, a thought has created the illusion of space. I like looking at it from all these different angles. And so when you have a space in between thought, which is a thought that creates space, it is a divine thought called the sweet spot that is the place of the now. And in the place of the now is the place where you're in love. Because when you're in love, all you can think about is the person you're in love with. And when you're with that person, time flies and you're not aware of anything but that embrace and that connection. And everyone is that embrace. Everything is that embrace. There's no such thing as badness. There's only goodness. And that goodness is not even based on our definition of goodness so that we feel better for all the badness we're subliminally repressing. All right? We are goodness based on the consciousness of unconditional love. That's it. Now, I remember when I ascended into this place in my mind of consciousness, that taking away all of this expression of visibility and biology and densities, consciousness was darkness and was void. For consciousness cannot be conscious of itself unless it sees itself. And when it sees itself, it looks inward as subconscious. And subconscious appears to be finite in a visible expression or journey. So it really is that good. And when we are conscious of the eternal, it doesn't mean that we have to reject the timeline. When we live from the eternal, the timeline is no longer our entanglement, and we no longer put it on as our identity and strive. We now use the timeline for a deeper expression, a deeper integration, a deeper realization of connectedness. You know, kind of like when you think of the body of Christ, we tend to think of the body of Christ as only being the Christian church or the Catholic Church, and when in fact it's all humanity. But it's not just the outward. It's not just an arm, a leg, an eye, but all the organs within. And you'd be surprised to know that your organs at a third dimension, well, you wouldn't be surprised about this. Your organs, and I'm going to take a little bit of what I learned from my brother that we're going to be seeing here on Saturday. But your organs in the 3D are for your survival biologically, but they only look like those organs in a third dimensional. But from within, in a 5D, these are doorways of consciousness that are utilized in a completely different way. Just like your digestive process takes matter and liquefies it, you are a liquefied, you are in liquid state that is not wet but fluid as frequency in your form outside of visibility. So when you begin to eat your time, space, and matter, or shall I say transmute your time, space, or matter from a fifth dimension, it goes into the digestive process of a higher consciousness that now begins to transform and transfer that which is time, space, and matter back into fluidity that allows you to move in multiple formations. This would be a transfigured state. This would be how when Jesus, it says that he appeared to them in other forms. All right. So realize that our biology at a third dimensional level is biology, but at other densities, it's not just biology sustaining life. These are doorways into other versions of you, into other realms, into telekinesis, telepathy, that's way beyond just the mind. For your mind isn't the only thing that is thinking. There is memory in the heart. There is the nervous system. There is memory within the body, within the DNA. And this is all rooted into really a multi-dimensional, and it's really hard to have language with this because there is no space to put it, since there actually isn't space. I mean, everything in the world, including you, fits on the tip of a pin, because space is an illusion. Now, we're not going to say, let's throw all that out and let's walk around like zombies just from eternity. I'm saying let it all come together as one. But let your identity be from the eternal, and let your timeline be the expressor of that identity from the eternal. And you'll find that your experience in this density of consciousness of visibility will be a lot funner, a lot nicer, a lot more glorious. Okay. So hopefully I gave you something to chew on today, and that you will come into a lot more of this as we begin to uh, vibrate at a higher frequency. And vibrating at a higher frequency is just simply realizing reality. Okay. Real quick, a few announcements. We were just invited to go hang out with our dear friends at Roar in Tennessee. So we're hoping to see some of you out there on the 3rd and the 4th of March in Tennessee. And I don't know if I have the information with me, but just reach out to me, or reach out to Tony Miles, or you can also reach out to uh, uh, who else can I have you reach out to? I think Ginger as well, Ginger Marshall. If you don't have her on Facebook, add her. And we're going to be in Tennessee hanging out with a bunch of glory gals and guys, and we're going to be having a grand old time. And so if you're going to be out there, we're going to be out there. It's the 4th and the 5th in Tennessee. And so we're going to try to do a pre-recorded on one of those days. I think it's Saturday morning, that Saturday. So not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. We're going to try to do a pre-recorded so that you guys, so we can still be a part of it, because we will be at a conference. And also, we are changing the name. If you saw my post, we are changing the name of Father of Glory Global Ministries. We feel that we've kind of graduated out of that season of emphasis and where we are at the time. It's going to be in Maryville, Tina, in Maryville. Reach out to those two people I named. They can get you the information. In fact, I might actually have, hold on, I might actually have a text here that maybe I can share. Okay, yes, it's actually at a bank. There's a room in the back where they gather at a bank, Tennessee Bank, or TN Bank. It's 1311 West Lamar, Lamar, Alexander Parkway, Maryville, Tennessee, 37801. And that's where the meetings are going to be Saturday and Sunday. But I got to still find out the time. So, but reach out to Ginger Marshall or Tony Miles to get the information, and come on down. Let's have a glory bash together, huh? And but yes, we are changing the name from Father of Glory Global Ministries. This is not because I despise anything. I love Christians. My last name is Christian. I no longer take the title Christian as a religion. I'm letting go of all labels. That doesn't mean that I'm letting go of people. And I'm definitely not despising what people believe or where they're at. I love everybody. More power to you where you're at. I'm good. Why? Because I don't need to fix you. I don't need to fix you because I don't need to fix me. All right. But we're changing it to um, Life Imagined. Life Imagined. We haven't come up with if we're going to do a global impact or something after that for the legal paperwork, but it's going to take us some time to change it. So, it's still going to say Father of Glory if people donate for now, but we are going to be changing our paperwork and updating. And we're really wanting to come with the approach of a non-religious approach, even though we will use spiritual language that might be from multiple religions and might be quoting at times and gleaning. We're not going to reduce ourselves to one box. Okay. Yeah. Now, if somebody can come up with two more words, Life Imagined, and that starts with the letter F and E that goes with it, then the acronym will be LIFE. That'll be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Haven't found it yet. So if anybody has any ideas, let me know. But we've got the short title, Life Imagined, and that's going to be it. I'm no longer identifying as apostle, prophet, pastor, teacher, and evangelist. Do I despise that? No. Some people still call me that, and that's fine. But me personally, I just identify as Brian, and as an advisor, spiritual advisor, mind mind manifesting advisor. I identify as a life coach, a shift coach, which deals with the mind. I identify as a mystic guru. I even identify as a shaman at certain levels, okay? So I kind of identify as all of that and as a priest and all of that, okay? But that's not my label. I'm just Brian. And I, am just Brian that's part of an intergalactic council in a multiversal realm that interacts with light beings and things I never thought I would say. And so, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, we're going to be changing it and upgrading it. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get all of that on paper and everything. But until then, we're just going to keep saying it till we get used to it. So thank you for joining us with Life Imagined. And I'm Brian Christian, your host. See, you got to get used to that. It kind of rolls off the tongue, right? Amen. Woo, I like that, Daryl. Life imagined from eternity or for eternity. Ooh, we're getting there. Life in short. Hey, I like that. That is really good. So yeah, let's check that out. We'll see if we can get it to work. But I'm so excited. We do need some help, people. So I am going to put out a request for help. We're going through a little bit of a financial struggle. My wife, she was going to be on here, but the nurses at the plasma center messed up both arms, and they've done it twice now. And she started going to the plasma center to try to get money because we've been going through some financial stuff. We're trying to get ready to get on the road. We've been ministering, trying to help a lot of people that, counseling sessions, and some of them have not had any finances, but we help them anyway. But it also affects us, and we end up taking the brunt of that. So we are about $2,000 in the hole right now. We're actually about $6,000 in the hole, but we need about $2,000 to get back up so that it doesn't interrupt the flow that we're stepping into and in the preparation of getting back on the road and traveling. And so anybody wants to donate, the website, you can go to the website above and make a donation through PayPal. You can make a donation through my messenger, but only the main messenger, not the other one. I don't have that one set up. So I have two Facebooks. So the one with the green background that looks like I'm in the Matrix, that's the Facebook, that profile picture. That's the one that I can use, that messenger. So please, if our lives have blessed you, if this organization has encouraged you, if our broadcasts have blessed you, please help us out. We need some help, and I know with all the connection. I mean, we have what, 15 plus thousand people that are a part of our following. Man, if everybody gave $1, we'd be good. And so, yes, the green background is the Facebook Messenger for donations. Yes, Jessica, thank you so much. And so, you know us. We don't go on trying to ask for money a lot. We just let people give as the Spirit leads them. We don't really try to sell you anything. We do have our training course. If you want to get something out of it, purchase our shift training course. It's $175, and when you go to PayPal, there's a place for a note. Put shift training. I will email you the link. You can download it. It has a workbook. That would help us out. If you want to buy our book, you can go on Amazon. It's The Everlasting Gospel of Christ, and it's like $13.99 on Amazon, and you can order that. That helps us out as well. We will be doing a promotional in the month of March for some things that we can send you for those that can also make a donation to kind of, so you're also getting something. We want to make a divine exchange, and it's not just words, but love, hugs, materials. Okay. We are working right now with our coaches that we're training in our shift coach training group to prepare them to expand our shift training, and that's also going to help as well. So we have a lot of things happening, a lot of upgrades, and a lot of shifting. And we are also planning. I did a post on Facebook. So for those of you on YouTube right now, you might not have Facebook. You can message me on the website. You can message me under the comments on this video on YouTube. You can message me on the post I did on Facebook, or just send me a message, however way you want to do it. We are getting ready to travel in late April, and so we are looking for people that want to host us. You want us to come to your area. You want us to come to, not too many people want us to come to their church anymore, but some of those that believe in inclusion do. You want us to come to your church. You want to set up a conference. We are going to be traveling around from April to October, okay? And maybe through part of October, okay? And we are going to be traveling around the U.S. We're going to try to get this RV to go. We're going to go by faith. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with this motorhome. All right. It's it's old. All right. And so we're going to try to do it in the RV. If we get stuck, we're going to bring our truck with us, and we're going to continue it, stuffing everybody in the truck. So nothing's going to stop us. And so we're going to be hitting different places around the nation. We have our usual spots. We will be coming to Mississippi. We will be coming to Alabama. As far as I know, if people want us to come, we will be coming to Minnesota. We will be coming to New York with Jackie, possibly twice. We're going to see how that works out. Normally we come at the beginning of May, and we start out kind of going from New York there. We might end up hitting Florida mid-April or at the beginning of April, since the weather's good there, and flowing there, coming back through, going up to New York. If Jackie's up for that, we will, as far as I know, we're definitely going to be having the Fam Bam in New York. I'm pretty sure in September. So the annual Fam Bam communion reunion, where we have all kinds of speakers and a lot of glory. It's just tangible realm of love and reconciliation, and just people just experiencing wholeness and glory and encounters. That's our yearly, and all of our gatherings are pretty deep. So if you want us to come, we're also going to be in New Mexico. And we're trying to get to Canada this year as well. So up above Montana, and possibly even up above New York. We've got to go get our what do you call that? Our passes, our international whatever you call those things, to leave the country. I got to get some of those. We would be in the Chautauqua area, right around the Chautauqua area, Maria, in New York. Passports. I couldn't even remember. My wife laughs. Passports, whatever those things are. Anyway, we still got to get those. Jessica, thank you. You heard 3,000. 3,000 is better than 2,000. We received that $3,000 that's already in us. We manifest it. We just thank you for it. We just thank the frequency of divinity. We thank. We're just thankful for all that provision coming in. Yeah, exactly, Jessica. No more language. I'm trying to come up with new language. Pretty soon we'll just be projecting imagery from mind to mind, and we'll just realize where the other person's at, because we just lived out their reality in a telepathic connection there. And so we've been doing this with my wife. Worked back in all the way up to 2018. She quit her job, and we have been out on the road the entire time. We've been sitting. We took a break because of the RV since July, and we have been supernaturally living. Y'all have been great. Many of you on here have been such a support to us. And we are so thankful to you for believing in us and for supporting us. Because I'll just tell you straight up, when people don't support you, they don't believe in you. When they don't believe in you, there's no purpose to do what you're doing. And, and so we love doing what we're doing, and we love people. And we're, working on some things right now that is also taking finances for us to get there. We are setting up our RV. If you recall, I shared, I don't know, last month, I said, good to see you, Claudia Marie. Love you too, sister. I shared with you about our children outgrowing their bed in the middle room and me needing to put our broadcasting setup in the middle and put the kids out here, and that was also going to cost. And so we're wanting to set that up with couches that convert to beds, which will allow us to not only have our kids have their own space, but our kids can go back in our bedroom when we have people over doing sessions. We are going to begin to do a lot more face-to-face sessions that they come alongside the shift sessions. They're called 5D cosmic sessions, in which we help people come into a 5D through multiple ways and tools, which I won't get into online. You'll have to text me, message me privately, and I will see if you're a candidate for the 5D session. It's not for everyone, and I tend to handpick people based on their level of wholeness, where they're at, and stability in the mind to take them through a 5D session. And we have been doing that with a few, and it's about a 5-hour experience. And so that's why we need you face to face, and we will have beds set up for atmosphere. We'll be able to do people a couple at a time if they know each other. If some people don't want to do that, we can just do one at a time, what have you. And so this is something that we're going to be doing as we're traveling as well. And so we'll be able to do it at your house. We'll be able to do it in the RV. It's going to be amazing. And we already have 3 coming in March for that. And it is going to be off the hook. So I am really excited about that. So we are upgrading. So be aware of some of these things and know that we love you. We want to see the world rise in their frequency and begin to break open the new heavens and the new earth that we are moving in. Yes, definitely, Jessica, next level stuff. And I know that many have been waiting for this. I know some have been even praying for me. When is Brian going to come out of some of that religious talk? And I'm like, I've already been out of it. I just haven't been released to publicly let go of it with the groups I've been connected to. I finally got the go, and it's time. It's time. So I'm really excited about this. We're going to be experiencing levels of channeling like you've never seen before. We're going to be literally taking people into experiences of near-death experiences without any physical problem, in which they're encountering being born, dying, and touching the other side, and yet realizing that they were never even born or died, but gazed in the whole time. And these are going to be revolutionary encounters. And we're going to be leading and activating people into these encounters. Of course, this is a face-to-face. When we do some of these, we will have other types of sessions that we do online where we help break people open in different levels and different ways. And so get ready. I'm ready for this. You're ready for this. I think it's time that we've outgrown the system that has been set in place. We've outgrown religion. We've outgrown all of it. And we're now ready to spread our wings and fly. It's time to fly. It's time to fly. It's time to take the red pill. It's time to fly. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And thank you all for helping us. Thank you all for sending good vibes and for creating space in your hearts for us. And so let's do this thing together, and let's see what's about to break open, right? Amen. Time to fly. I love y'all, and we will see you guys Saturday. And it is going to be a blast. It's going to be on reincarnation with our special guests. And so don't miss it. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love y'all, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.